How to get a girl's attention. So in this video today, we're going to speak about specifically how to gather and command the attention of beautiful women, which is something that's fairly hard. And if you're not used to doing it, this might be the reason why your interactions fall short. So specifically, if you feel like you don't create a lot of attraction right off the bat, and women don't really take you seriously, or sometimes women even outright ignore you, this is the reason why. So you need to watch this video to the very end, implement the tools, and after this is gonna stop happening to you. You're gonna stop having interactions where you're kind of like it fizzles out, and instead you're gonna set the interaction up right from the start, right off the bat, so that it seamlessly goes towards attraction and creating a relationship and creating a real connection with specifically the women. I've over specifically this video, but with the women that you're interested in. And specifically, these are high level women, and these are high in demand women. That means that their attention is a commodity that is high in demand. So unless you learn these things, unless you become familiar with and become proficient with how to hold court and having eyeballs on you and be comfortable with that, other guys, the competition is going to annihilate you. So, and by the way, don't think that just because the girls are really pretty, everybody's intimidated, nobody talks to them. If girls are pretty, they are approached all the time. And this is they're approached like once or twice a day on random days, not because they went to the club, like just because they're out in the street. So imagine like the amount of attention that is on them. So unless you know how to command attention, this is not going to happen for you. Okay, and one last point to this. A lot of people, because commanding attention is not like an actionable step per se, and we're going to see exactly how to do that. A lot of people kind of overlook it. It goes over people's head, but it's the first thing that you need to do in order to start an interaction. So like a lot of people think that in order to create an interaction and create a connection with a girl, the first thing you need to do is open your mouth and speak to her, but it's not. If you really put it under the microscope, a lot of shit needs to happen before you even do this. And it needs to happen as a setup internally, like the way that you feel, and also the things that you do right before you commence the interaction with a girl. And if you want to go deep into all of this, this is what I teach. Grab the link in the description below and we can have a chat and potentially you can work with me. So now, why is it good to get a woman's attention? Because if you start an interaction in some manner where you get her divided attention or like just a little bit of attention, and you're like too caught up in like saying the right thing or withstanding a potentially bad reaction, the girl's gonna just not take you very seriously. And if she doesn't take you seriously, the rest of the interaction is already doomed, like before you started opening your mouth. And the most important thing here I want to touch on is power versus force. And there is a great book by, I can't remember the name of the writer, but here's not a teaching, but here's like a way to think about it. The way to get a girl's attention is by power, not by force. And generally the better way to exist is that, okay? And by the way, one thing to like what I've said so far that I want to add before I move on is that there is a reason why you want to set yourself up, and you want to set yourself up internally before you open your mouth and start chatting with a girl. And that's part of creating an identity, creating a foundation that allows you to be the guy who communicates well, who is attractive. And then from that basis, from that foundation, everything you do is kind of like organic and seamless and natural. And that's when it tends to work best. Jesus. Let's try to put everything in Do Not Disturb. And that is the way that I like to teach and to approach the game of relationships, the social game. Because if you just restrict yourself in what to do, which is the simple thing, like say you go to a dating coach and you figure out what to do, then then it's like, yeah, you do the actions, but they don't have oomph behind them. So they tend to work badly, if at all, and the results you get are inconsistent with a lot of strain. Whereas if you truly work on these concepts, then the results that you get are rather solid and kind of effortless. Like you get them effortlessly, and the results themselves tend to be high level, good, fucking awesome results because they are real. You're not faking anything. Okay, so let's return to power versus force now that we did this little detour. Okay, this little tangent, this little digression. So what's happening with power versus force? Visualize this. You want to get a girl's attention. Do you want to get a girl's attention by yelling? Or do you want to get a girl's attention by simply being there and being a cool guy and being effortlessly just like, it just happened? Obviously, it's the latter, because yelling is a demonstration of force. It's like you straining your voice. It's you kind of like overreaching, and it's not that effective. But if you are a cool guy, a cool composed guy, and her gaze naturally, roams around the space and falls on you, happens to meet your gaze, that's the right way to do it. So in this video, we're going to learn a couple of ideas on how to orchestrate that. So like it seems like it's self-evident and spontaneous, but there is no way around it. Like there's no way that you would go past the room and the girl wouldn't notice you. So it's basically a way to get noticed using power rather than using force. And I want you to meditate on that image. Okay. Now, there's a couple ways to do it. First of all, you need to understand that women generally are after status the way that we are after beauty. It's the same evolutionary mechanism. And there's two ways to convey that status: by things that you purchase, things that you wear, your toys. The one way is to portray your tribe. So when we're talking about clothing, back in the day, in the seduction community, we had this idea of peacocking, which was basically wearing things that are exotic and outlandish so that you put attention to yourself. And then with that attention, you would demonstrate that you're able to handle it. And because of that, because you would not only call attention to yourself, but also on top of that, be comfortable with handling it, girls who would perceive that, who would see that, would understand that you have high value and you have balls, and there must be something about you. Like if you're able to have all these big feathers but still survive in the wild, that means that evolutionarily you have some value. Now, the feather boa of the fucking late 90s or whatever, or like early 2000s, it doesn't quite exist anymore, and it's not something that I would particularly advocate for. Unless you want to make this part of your journey, unless you want to know how it is to wear like a weird-ass top hat with goggles and a feather boa. By all means do it to get the experience, but this is not quite how you get girls. I want you to be able to fly under the radar, James Bond style, and just like be a sniper. This is the one, go after her, you get her. But with that said, there is a point to dressing the part. So the one way that you can employ what you wear is by being the tribe of the girl that you want to attract. So you're thinking, okay, the girl that I want, if you haven't done this piece of homework, you gotta get after it and absolutely do it. Write a paragraph of what your ideal girl is, like who she is, what tribe she belongs to. Is she a biker girl or is she a lawyer girl? Is she like a teacher or is she like a spiritual girl? Is she like a corporate girl? Like, is she a muscle mommy? Like, what is her type? And people tend to stick to their tribes. So she's probably going to want a guy who is a member of the same tribe. So if you want that type of girl, yeah, man, you should be in that tribe. It makes sense. You are compatible. Okay, so This is the one side of dressing the part, so that you can call attention to yourself in a regular way, in a not regular but like effective way. The other thing is status. So you can also wear things that portray status, that are kind of like independent or maybe even relevant to the tribe, but they portray status. Like a Rolex is status because you worked hard, you were effective, you are able to gather resources, you bought the Rolex, you wear it, boom, it calls attention to you. It's a good thing, okay. And if you put your money in a Rolex, it'll probably retain its value too. Maybe it'll go up if you don't buy the Hulk. So, so that's the one side of like what you wear and what you purchase. The other side is toys. You can, the feather boa and the top hat, they're toys, man. They're cool. Another cool toy, a sports car. You get a Ferrari, you get a fucking, okay, maybe you can't afford a Ferrari. If you're watching this video, chances are you might be able to afford a Ferrari, but you can buy things that are a little exotic, a little outlandish, and call attention to yourself. And as you're doing this, just like with a feather boa, number one, make sure that it's really you. You don't do it for the attention. But number two, also make sure that you're able to handle the attention that it gathers. So all of this is what you wear. Now, the next way how you can call attention to yourself, how you can command the attention of a hot girl, is your body language. Your body language is not random, and it's not a coincidence. How you stand, how you carry yourself is not random. It's like there is a reason why you carry yourself the way you do. And unless you're very aware of what you're doing, how you stand, you have no idea how people perceive you. And you might even have no idea that you're standing the wrong way. So here's what your body can do to get attention. So, and this is what I do as well. This is how I behave so that I know that if I enter a space, there's going to be eyeballs on me. Okay, number one, I want to carry myself tall. I want to stand tall. Why is that? It's because when I feel, and every one of us is the same thing, when we feel like we're on top of a social hierarchy, this ups our serotonin. This is innate. We're wired for that, and this is automatic what happens in our body. And the muscles in our back, the ones that keep our fucking I'm getting the German word, which is Wirbelsäule, like our spine straight, the spinal erectors, they are serotonergic muscles. That means that the higher your serotonin, the taller you'll stand. So that means that the more straight you'll stand. That means that the higher you are in a chain of command, if you're around these people, if you're in that environment, which could be the club or which could be the street or whatever, the taller you will stand. And you will see that if you are trying to go through a crowded dance floor and you stand tall, people will perceive you and the dance will open up. But if you're kind of slouching and like feeling like weird vibes, people are going to the dance floor is going to close up and people are not going to let you pass. And this is completely unconscious. People don't know this shit. Okay, so this is one side of body language. The other side is your speed, the speed at which you operate, which means the speed at which you look around, the speed at which you speak, and the speed at which you walk or you're, moving. If this is slow and deliberate, this conveys authority and this conveys high status. And when you move slowly and deliberately, you carry yourself in that way and you stand tall, people can't help but look your way. It is insane, but it happens all the time. And if two people look your way, then you will see that all the other fucking heads start turning, because it's kind of like a phenomenon. It's like if somebody on the street looks up and then the second person looks up at a house or whatever, at a roof, then you'll see people are going to start slowly looking. So this is another way that you can command attention. You can call attention to yourself. So imagine having these things as like a side note before we go on with the video. Imagine having these things. Imagine being dressed in a way that conveys status, maybe having some accessories that speak for you, and carrying yourself in that way where you've kind of, it feels like you're James Bond. It feels like you're going through a space and, you're very high status and very deliberate. People can't help but like look. So imagine if a girl perceives you before you've even perceived her in a way, and she's seen you before you go and approach her, and like you've already created kind of an impression on her before you've even approached. So now you have her attention. Now when you approach her, okay, she can't be distracted. She's like right here, 100%. She's gonna hear what you have to say. And of course, from then on, it's another, whole other project to understand and know how to communicate. But of course, that's why I'm here. Again, link in the description. Now, the last couple of things I want to talk about on when you're perceived and how to call attention to yourself is like when you're amongst people. So the first thing is pre-selection. Pre-selection is if other women have their attention already on you. And this is again like the effect that I mentioned before, where you're on the street and like somebody looks up and then the next person looks up, and like before you know it, everybody on the street is kind of like looking up to figure out what's happening. If one girl is on you and another girl is on you, and a great way to facilitate that, by the way, is kind of like lean against the bar with your back towards the bar and like start talking to the first girl. This is going to look like she's courting you, right? She's on you. Whereas if it was the other way around, the girl was leaning back and you were kind of like trying to talk to her, that would be like, you're courting her, right? So if you make it look like that a little bit, and then the next girl kind of like starts talking to you, or it doesn't have to be on her own accord. Like say you're at a bar and you're leaning back and there's one girl talking to you. You can do that pretty easily. Then the next girl walking by, you can just like reach out your hand. With her peripheral vision, she's seen what's happening. She's seen that you're being courted by a girl. Of course, she doesn't know if you've orchestrated this or if it organically happened, right? Because when a picture looks like this, 99 times out of 100, it's organically happened. So she's going to believe that, yeah, of course, like this girl kind of likes this guy. So if you go like this, as she's walking by, as she's unconsciously seen all that, like she's so much more likely to stop and say hello and like see what you have to say. And then you can introduce the two girls to each other. You can just, without even knowing any of them, by the way, like you could just have walked into the bar completely on your own. But like if the two girls are like that, you introduce them to each other, they're not going to even think twice, about like asking, yo, how do you know this girl or whatever. And even if you don't, even if they do ask you, like you can just simply say, I don't, whatever. And now two girls are talking to you. And from there, you will see if you are able to detach your attention and kind of like scan the room, you will see that like a lot more girls are going to throw looks your way. So this is kind of what happens. And pre-selection is a switch. When girls see that other girls are attracted to you or interested in you or complying towards you, other girls like you. And that's the fucking way the cookie crumbles. This is always how it's been in the history of the universe, and it will never fucking change unless AI completely fucks us all. But, that's only like 3 years away, so we got time. So pre-selection is major, and I suggest you use it. And if you are pre-selected in a venue, from that point on, you can talk to any girl, and every girl is going to be receptive. So it's going to be very, very easy to catch a girl's attention. And the last part that kind of like belongs to that, to that category is status and being social. I was at a club with a girl that I was seeing, but of course we weren't exclusive or anything like that. And she felt free to tell me if she liked somebody, because that's what I did. Like when I was out with her, I always like picked up other girls and like created connections with other girls. So we go into the club and I see this guy who's kind of like tall, but this kind of irrelevant. but he was also like greeting everybody and like putting his hands on everybody and being friendly with everybody. This guy was being social, and knowing everybody is a source of status, is a reason to say, okay, this guy's got status. So if you are in a place where you are friendly with everybody, and that could very well be other men, which there's no reason why not create friendships at the bar. Like, why would you go to the bar and be like the weird sniper guy who only talks to girls? Creating friendships and creating connections with other people, other men, high-fiving, dabbing up other people, that is fucking fantastic. That when you're doing that, if, say, you do that for 20 minutes in a space, then you leave the room, and then you come back, when you're back, the girls will have seen that again with their peripheral vision, and they will know that, okay, when this guy passes by, they're gonna be very extra aware of this guy. And that guy could be you. So the way you establish yourself, here's the moral of the story basically. The way that you establish yourself in people's unconscious, in a space that you're in, is permanent for the night. And this could go both ways. It could go, you go into space, you know everybody, you're friendly, you're loud, you're obnoxious, you're smiling, you're happy. The people in the corners that you haven't interacted with, they've registered that, if only unconsciously. And sometimes even consciously, because sometimes people go to venues to be social and to create a new connection. So they're looking for people, okay? So this is how they'll perceive you to the end of the night. If you never talk to them, nothing happened. But if you at some point, an hour later, go and talk to them, it's a natural thing that they're gonna be immediately drawn to you. Like, they're not gonna be distracted. Like, if you're the one passing by, their attention is secretly gonna be on you. And the reverse as well. Like, if you have a bad reaction from somebody, or you keep having bad reactions, people might want to turn away from you, especially girls, because they're very, very savvy. They're not like us. So that's a couple ways, 3 specific ways how you could hold attention, hold court. Specifically, number 1, the things that people see about you, like what you wear, your toys, your accessories, your tribe, the things that you buy. Number 2, the things that people see but are inherent to you, which is your body language, the way that you move in a space, the way that your voice sounds is part of it. If you're slow, your speed, all of these things, that's number 2. And number 3, the way people react to you, the way that you interact with people. Even if they see it out of the corner of their eye, it is still very, very important. So all these 3 things, do them. If you've done them properly, girls are going to have their attention on you before you even go and approach them. And then that sets you up to make an approach, have it go well, create the relationships and the connections and establishing what you want with the girls that you want. And that's the end of the video. So I will see you in the next one. Peace. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.